Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Uh, so with stream today, I am going to start off a little bit differently than normal. Um, what I want to do um, is talk about a couple different things. First and foremost, for Tuesday stream, I am going to cancel Tuesday stream. All right. I know this is very, very premature for me, and I normally don't call things this far ahead. But the reason I'm going to cancel Tuesday stream is because with the issues that we've had with like some lag spikes and stuff like that, um, I am going to be trying a completely different Linux distribution, which means that yet again I have to rebuild everything. Um, so I just don't think I'm going to be able to build fast enough to be quite ready for Tuesday, but I do think I could build fast enough to be ready for Friday. So that's where I'm at with that. Um, so there won't be a stream on Tuesday, but there will be a stream on Friday. I will just be using Nobara instead of Linux Mint. For those of you that are not familiar with Linux, Nobara works very differently than Linux Mint. Linux Mint, you could kind of see a little bit behind me here for my hotbar. Linux Mint looks very similar to Windows, which was why I picked it. I wanted, even though I do have experience with Linux, I wanted something that was going to feel as close to Windows as I could possibly get it. So I went with this one, which is an Ubuntu based, and having its compositor looks very similar to Windows. However, even using a different UI called KDE, which you could actually see there's a KDE with Nobara. Even using that one, we were still seeing the issue. So I'm just going to make the complete and total switch to Nobara. And the reason I picked Nobara is because it was created by the same person that created the GE Protons that allow us to be able to use our Windows-based games on Linux. Super easily. And you can see that there's even Steam versions. I'm still testing to see which exact version I'm going to end up using. I'm between, I got GNOME installed earlier, and then I also have Steam HTPC, which is for your big screen living room setups, or if you're on a desktop like me, as opposed to using a handheld. But I haven't dug so much into those. I am going to though. But that's why I'm like I'm not going to stream on Tuesday because I need to give myself time to get used to these because GNOME is set up more like Mac. And my experience with Mac was the last business I worked for them for about a year. I had a MacBook for them. Beyond that, barely any experience with using Mac. So it might take me a minute to get used to GNOME. And then Steam HTPC, from my understanding, it's more of a desktop version of the Steam handheld. I've used Steam in handheld mode, but even still, could be getting used to it in desktop mode. So I want to make sure I give myself the time to properly adapt and get used to it and make sure everything properly functions before I commit to a stream. So Tuesday will be canceled. Friday, my plan is to stream on Friday at the moment, and with Friday stream, because we do have 7.5 dropping on Tuesday, I am going to catch up off stream as best I can on the MSQ, so that way I am ready for 7.5 when it drops on Friday. So if you do not want to see spoiler content or anything like that, that gives you some time to be able to catch up on that content before I start doing it live on Friday. At least that is my mental game plan right now, is spend this week rebuilding everything, and then Friday I'll be ready to go with the new 7.5 content. And then the other thing that I wanted to do here at the start of stream is I want to talk about some of the updates that we have coming to Final Fantasy XIV with this new expansion. Hello. Um, so I'm gonna close out of the Nobara stuff because I don't need that anymore. Um, I do want to talk about the dev panel from day one. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, and I need to make sure I change it to hold on. I need the not theater mode. There we go. Now I can see things. Um, I want to make sure I put the speed back to normal speed because I was watching it at a faster speed, trying to play catch up because my weekend has been a little crazy and chaotic. Um, so I've watched the majority of it, and I'm probably going to watch it a few more times still to digest everything that is coming on. And I will say, for part of it, I was totally distracted by bits and pieces of it because of the chat. You see now, I don't have chat open because I'm not going to lie, chat be off. Because this developer, he's doing great work. I feel like he's doing great work, and they talk about some of the fights that he developed, and one of the fights that he developed, they talk about is the math bot, and then so many of them were like, oh, apparently he doesn't know that 1 is a prime number. Like, hold on. We need me in speechless mode for all of it. And like and angry because oh my god, no, we don't want me in speechless angry. We'll just go with angry. That be like 1 is a prime number. Hey Felicia. Um with so for those of you that do not know, hey Euler. For those that don't know, I am an academic. My degrees are I have a degree in math, I have a degree in teaching math, I have a degree in computer science, and I am all but dissertation on curriculum and instruction, focusing on math. So I am very knowledgeable when it comes to math. And it pissed me off so much seeing so many people being like, 1's a prime number, 1's a prime number. How dare he not know this? And I'm like, y'all just stop. I can't. I had to pause watching it and walk away because I'm like, no. And from my number theory studies is that it was a discussion for a long time with mathematicians as to whether 1 was a prime number or not. Like don't get me wrong, I do get it, but we've evolved a lot since those discussions. And there is a definition for prime numbers that people talk about in chat all the freaking time. And that is there are 2 distinct factors for a prime number. 2 distinct. Only 2. But it's exactly 2. 1 does not have 2 distinct. That word's very, very important. Distinct means they're not the same number. The only factor of 1 is 1. It's just itself. You can't count 1 twice. It's only a single number. So I'm like, no, 1 doesn't fit the definition of prime, but it also doesn't fit the definition of composite because composite has multiple factors beyond just the 2. So 1 is just agreed to be neither 1. So that way we could keep the peace upon mathematicians. Okay? That is just what has been determined. So the people that were in chat that were like, 1's a prime number, 1's a prime number. Like, angry. I am just angry. I don't like it. Like, don't be this way, guy. Anyway, enough of my math rants. Yes. I'm like, I don't want to be too mad about the math, but I'm also like, I can't help but be mad about the math because like I've just spent so much time studying math and like number theory was one of my favorite things ever. As far as like my undergraduate studies, like that was seriously my favorite class, and I got really big into studying encryption and all that stuff. Like I really, really got into studying various prime numbers and all that stuff to the point that my favorite number is 561 because it's the smallest Carmichael number. And what a Carmichael number is that it appears like it's a prime number, but it's not. It's actually a composite number. And that is because with Fermat's theorem, when you check it for prime numbers and stuff, 561 passes, but it has multiple factors of 3, 11, and 17 as well. So I'm like, yes, they could totally die on that hill if they want to. Like, if that's a hill they want to die on, they can go for it. I will just stay away from that hill because I'm like, I can't with them. I can't. I just can't. Um, but with this new dev mode, or this new evolved mode, so they talked about it in the developer panel. Let me get to a screen where they actually like show. There we go. I was like, you're giving me a preview of it. With the fewer inputs and all that stuff, like they were like, oh well, we're not making it easier, we're just trying to make fewer inputs. And I do like that they made that distinction before going into the evolved mode. Because like there were so many people, again, like I didn't quite turn off chat by that point, but there were so many people that they were like, oh, they're putting it in easy mode. So they're making it so that like anybody can do this because there's fewer buttons. Like, you don't have to have a ton of buttons for a job to be complicated or difficult to do, or a fight to be challenging and difficult to do. The number of buttons is not what makes it hard. And I do think that with this dev panel, they did a better job, or did a really good job of highlighting a lot of stuff to help show, hey, this is not easy mode. This is actually going to be pretty dang challenging. Still. So, let me, whoops, I want to go into, oh gosh. Okay, I guess I will pause on the screen just for a second. Because the screen, I had so many people sending me this screen, particularly from my old static, because I was the greedy melee DPS, which meant I was one of the higher damage dealers. And as soon as my former tanks saw the, not during the time that my husband was tanking, but beyond that, like the multiple provokes and getting rid of the shirk and combining it into one ability and making it change based upon who you are targeting. So enemy goes into provoke and ally goes into shirk. I'm like, oh, they were like, hey, guess what? You're no longer a melee DPS. You're just going to be the floor tank all the time because I'm going to shirk to you all the time. And I was like, oh, that's going to be absolutely wonderful and fantastic. And yes, I do agree, Euler. Like having, like when they were showing the Dragoon and talking about it. Oh, I'm in Paladin here. I rewound a little bit too much. I was like, I got to the Dragoon stuff and then I rewound. Showing off the Dragoon and being like, oh well, sometimes we got to be on left and sometimes we got to be on right. I like that I feel like is going to be pretty challenging because with some of the battle mechanics and stuff, you have to have like clock positions right now, right? And I'm like, well, based upon those clock positions before, it was like, okay, well, I would just barely step to one side or the other to quickly get into rear or flank. Because typically I was in roughly like the 4 o'clock position, or I guess 4:30 position. And so that put me like right at the back corner of the boss, so I could easily step to my left and I'd be at rear, or I could step to my right and I would be at flank. Easy breezy, no problem. But the problem is that what if my rotation is calling for a left flank? I'm on the right side of the boss, and I need right flank. And it's like, no, you have left flank. So seeing how that's going to play out, I think is going to be interesting, and I think is going to help bring in the challenge that people are really looking for. Because, as I said, it's not in the number of buttons that makes something challenging, because just hitting a flank or a rear positional so much easier than, oh, well, you have a rear positional and you have a left positional and you have a right positional. Like, you've got all these extra positionals that you're worried about. Like, I feel like we've got so much extra challenge to that like, at that point I closed out chat, but I'm sure that there were people in chat that were like, oh, that doesn't seem like it's too hard. I'm like, well, maybe they just haven't done the content where it's like, I wouldn't have been able to do a left positional. Like, I needed to be able to either do rear or right. And having the flexibility of it just generally being flank meant I could take either the 4:30 positional or the 7:30 positional. Like, either one of those would have been fine. But now it's like, ooh, well, now people are going to be even more picky about which rear positional they could actually take when they are playing a melee DPS. Just depending on how flexible they end up making some of the button rotations. Like they said, this is all still like really super early on. But hopefully, I don't end up hating life. Because, like, if I were to go back into Savage content, I would want to play melee DPS again, but I have a feeling that I would absolutely. I do also like with the which actually I was going to swap over to talking about the tank, but I do like look at how much cleaner the hotbar look. Like, I feel like that, like, for me, I am a mouse and keyboard player, but like, there are plenty of times that I want to be able to play on my Steam Deck, or nowadays I want to play on my Legion Go and stuff. There are just too many buttons for me to assign to those hotbars, depending on whatever job I'm on. And it's to a point where I'm like, okay, if I'm on my Steam Deck or anything like that, I'm probably just going to be crafting or gathering. Like, I don't want to be worrying about my rotations and figure out what buttons to prioritize on these hotbars, as opposed to when I'm on mouse and keyboard, and having that condensed looks so much nicer. And originally I thought, okay, they were doing this because of Switch 2, and they had said, no, this wasn't because of Switch 2. We were actually already planning this. So it's like, okay. So then I'm wondering if they were showing this off, and then the CEO was like, hey guys, let's use this as an opportunity to expand to Switch 2. Or someone that has some sort of stock or shareholders, all that stuff, like, was probably like, oh, let's add this on there. Which makes sense, because since the Switches don't have the extra triggers, condensing down to just having your LT and RTs, like, just the single trigger, is nice for them. Like, I think overall it's much more welcoming on controller. Like, I would totally try it out on controller, and I really want to try it out on controller. I could not imagine my Scholar hotbar on controller, because, as you guys saw the other day, I had 3 full mouse and keyboard bars, completely full with Scholar, and that wasn't even with having my summons on the bar. Actually, I take that back. I had all but one button filled, and that was without having either summons on my bar. Yeah, that that is going to be awesome. Like with this reduction and the quick payload they introduced and everything, like yes, finally being able to like put some nice emotes, like especially for the controller players, like mouse and keyboard, like I could quickly type an emote on my keyboard, no problem. But it always sucks when you're on controller and it's so hard to interact with other people. Like there's so many times that I would log in with my Steam Deck or actually that's probably the only time that I've played controller is on my Steam Deck. But when I would log on, it was so hard for me to respond to anybody or even acknowledge other people in my free company because they would all be typing to me in chat. I'm like, well, I don't have a good way to respond to you. And I mean, it's better on the Steam Deck than it is with like the handheld Windows operating system because the Steam Deck is very quick to pull up the on-screen keyboard. Problem is that the on-screen keyboard, depending on where it shows up, for me it typically shows up on the bottom, ends up covering up what I'm typing, so that I can't see what I'm typing, and more than likely what I typed is all completely wrong. Yes, I'm always too slow on something like that. Like controller, I'm way too slow to emote back because you have to search for all of the emotes. So it's like being able to assign it going to be so super nice. The other thing I found really interesting, I skipped over it earlier. Where's that screen? Where's that screen? Give me the screen I am looking for, game or video. That's the only thing that kind of sucks about trying to go back on some of these live videos is that they're so long. So finding the exact slide that they're talking about can be so challenging. I'll just leave it at this screen. The fact that they said that all content is clearable regardless of what mode you are playing. I was like, I did not even need I did not look at chat for when they announced that. And I was like, I don't even need to look at chat because I know that is I feel like that's a tricky area. Like we already have people that go into Savage that are like they don't want to meld their gear. They don't want to eat their food and all that stuff. So and getting booted because they're not doing those things to help with the fact that they are like if they're doing week 1, they're going in at that minimum item level. So it's like, okay, evolved mode is going to have that extra edge, just slight edge on damage and everything. So it's like, okay, I feel like especially when we're talking about like day 1 savage clears or day 1 ultimate runs and stuff, we're going to see that party finder toxicity of being like no reborn mode. You have to be in evolved mode. Like I feel like we will be seeing that, particularly in party finder. Because party finder can already be a train wreck, right? So it's just a bit of a challenge trying to make sure people play the way that they want to as it is. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening to people that try to go into party finders like that in reborn mode when they've already said that evolved mode is going to have the edge. Have like how we've seen, like I had several people in the video that I made that talked about make sure you wear your job stone and the content that you actually need your job stone for. Like below level 30 content, who cares? Like it's not like your job stone is going to do any good anyway. But if you're going into level 70, 80, 90 dungeons and don't even have your job stone on, people are going to complain. And some people even try to go into Savage content, apparently, from what I saw in the comments of that video. I was like, what? There were people going into Savage content without their job stones and getting a lot of hate. And I don't think the people going in with reborn mode is going to get are going to get quite the level of hate that those without job stones are going to get. But I think it's going to be more on par with like the people who are not eating food or don't have their gear even remotely melded. Like I'm not talking pentamelded for your crafted gear. I'm talking more of just having the basic first couple slots melded because like it's free stats, which is some free extra damage. May as well go ahead and use those slots. I understand not pentamelding to an extent when trying like to an extent with day one, I should say. Um and savage. Like if you're not pentamelded doing casual content like dungeons and trials and not even extreme trials or anything like that, don't worry about it. But trying to do day one savage clears, yeah, you should probably be melded. But I feel like we're going to see some controversy when it comes to the reborn mode versus the evolved mode, particularly in the US Party Finder. Um, I know some of the other regions do things a little bit differently, but with US doing, or I should say North America-based regions, doing it with Party Finder, I think we're going to see a lot more issues there. Um, the Another thing I found interesting, I'm going to try to talk about it here for a second and kind of tease it for a second before I run an ad break and take a very, very short break, is the fact that we have some updates with Paladin, and some of the chat was like, oh, so it's going to be ISP based. I think some of that would be interesting, and I think it adds a lot of intriguing challenge. So I'm going to talk about that after the ad break on Twitch. Let me go ahead and run a short ad, and then I will come back and talk more about that. All right. Welcome back. So with Paladin, one of the updates that they made was not just to the whole provoke having 2 stacks and everything, just like it will be for all the tanks by looks of things, but it was with if you I did time it perfectly. If you happen to um block at the perfect time, you will have a really cool counterattack. And I get where people were like, "Oh, it's going to be so ISP based, yada yada yada," and getting really really salty about it. Don't get me wrong. I do understand the stress about ISP because I've had bad ISPs in the past. Um, but I will say a lot of places are getting so much better about having good, strong ISPs available. So hopefully that will help counter at least some of that. Like for instance, like I live in a very, very rural area, and in my really, really very rural area, um, I recently got fiber internet. Honestly, didn't even know that fiber was offered in my area. Like there was fiber laid out like years ago, but then the company that laid out that fiber said, "Oh, it was business only." Like they didn't even like they ran it by my house, but we're like, "No, we don't offer anything to you. It's just for businesses." Um, so I'm like, I trust me, I get it. Up until recently, I was on cable internet, and it it was okay. It wasn't great, um, but a lot of areas are getting so much better about offering better and stronger internet. Um, and I would imagine, especially with how slow the servers can be sometimes, like I don't imagine that window being super tight like it is with like Ninja's Ninjutsu. Um, like casting some of those ninjutsu abilities, like going into your Tenchi Jin, um, making sure that you cast those at the exact right time is a very small window. Um, but there's a reason that most jobs do not have that very small window and have that longer global cooldown. Like I would imagine that it's a pretty decent window there to uh, give that time for the counter. Otherwise, I will totally say I do think, regardless, I'm probably going to suck at countering. I'm always really bad when it comes to counter abilities. It doesn't matter the game. I've just always sucked at it. Um, but I do think that that's a skill thing that they added, that it doesn't take extra buttons to add it, you know? And like sometimes, yes, it is going to be a little bit of a battle with your ISP. Like trust me, I had that ISP and I had to figure out how to play ninja on that bad ISP, you know? Like there is something to that challenge, you know? Um, so I think that's going to be really, really interesting. I also think it's really interesting to see. Oh, that's a Bard. I think Bard was the last one. Here we go. White Mage. That's who I was looking for. With our healers, I'm so excited that they are updating it so that way we don't have the punishment happening for using global cooldown heals on abilities. Like, I think that is going to be so nice to have healers still be able to focus on healing and not have to worry as much about losing that damage, because yes, in quite a few savage fights, like it was a matter of telling the healers, don't worry about healing through this part. Don't You are not the priority reser. You are not focusing on those things. You need to keep damaging so that we can make sure that we're meeting our damage check. And I had like we have red mage is your priority reserve. You have a red mage in the party, and then after that, then you have summoner that would then do the rezzing. Um, like you don't want your healers wasting their MP on reses, which I mean, still you still have the 2400, but they're not going to be punished for focusing on healing and casting those heals, at, as opposed to doing damage. I think that should be absolutely wonderful for all of the healers, because healers want to heal. They don't all want to be damage dealers. Um, and even so, like they made damaging as a healer a little bit more interesting by making it so that a white mage is not just a glare mage, you know, like they're not just sitting there casting glare over and over and over again. Oh, let me make sure my dia dot is still on there. Like I I think that is going to be absolutely wonderful for healers. And then with Bard, seeing that they updated the songs to not necessarily be a oh, well, you're going to start with uh Minstrel's or Wandering Minuet, and then go into uh Mage's Ballad, and then cut that a little bit short to go into Army's Peon, like, and then rinse and repeat, and make sure that you're doing this for your 1 or 2 minute rotation over and over and over again, and making it so that the songs are a little bit more situation based. Like, I feel like having that fluid activity happening with Bard in this case is it's just going to make things way more interesting, way more intricate, and a lot more fun in my opinion. Um the other thing I am going to comment on before uh, I I kind of move on is like another thing that chat ticked me off about was like they were commenting about they were like, oh man, looking at that, it just doesn't seem like this was very well thought out. And it's like, be it felt like some of the chat was just being so disrespectful to the dev team, and I did not like that. I was like, first and foremost, they addressed the UI here. They said this, like, and it's captioned right there. It says the screen shows content under development, and they said this UI is just like this isn't what it's going to look like or anything like that. This is just what we're showing at the moment. This is obviously just a very, very basic placeholder. They're still developing all of this. Like, it's not like this is going to be releasing on Tuesday. You know, like it's still we still got a while before they're going to be giving us. So there's still going to be adaptations. There's still going to be things changing. Like, don't get hung up on the UI, or even with the people that were like, oh, well, this doesn't seem like it's very well thought out. First and foremost, it does seem like it's pretty decently thought out. Like, obviously, they still are doing testing and everything and still working on a whole bunch of extra stuff, but they haven't worked through absolutely every single little thing because, yet again, it's not like it's being implemented tomorrow or Tuesday. Like, we've got months before this is going to be implemented. So yes, they are still working on everything. We just have to be patient and know that they're giving us a preview of it, and be grateful that they're giving us a preview of it, because what they showed, in my opinion, looks so interesting, and I see so much wonderful and fantastic potential with, you know? Like, did I love absolutely every single thing that I saw? No, I don't love the left and flank positionals, but that is just because, as a melee DPS, I don't want to have to remember which one's left and which one's right, and try to, like, add in all of that extra uh, mapping out of everything in a battle. Like, that is just me being nitpicky. It's not that it's necessarily bad. That's just my personal preference, you know? Like, I I'm like, I think I will struggle with that, but I think it'll be a good struggle. I just want to be sad and complain about it. like like I think that overall it's going to be really, really good, you know? Yes, right? Like, I need extra charges of True North to get me through some of those things, because, like, I was glad that they added the extra charge of True North in a past expansion. Like, that was great. But I'm like, I'm gonna need some more of that for those times where I am locked to a clock position, or hopefully don't give me battles where I am locked to a clock position for a hot minute, or have to stack with somebody else that is, like, for instance, like, most of the time when I had my partner stack, I partnered with the off tank and was in the rear positional. Because as a ninja, most of the time my positional that I was hitting was the rear. Because this was during Endwalker, and there wasn't very often that I needed to hit my flank positional. So most of the time, I would pair with the off tank and I would be in the rear. And it's like, oh, well, what if I'm stuck in the rear position all the time and can't get to the flank to hit right or left, either one? Like, what do I do in that situation? So I think it's still going to take a lot of extra thought and process. And I think that especially these battles that they did put a lot of thought into making sure it was a very choreographed dance for the current 2-minute cooldown rotation meta. Should be really, really interesting long run. And I'm excited to see where it goes. You know, I'm very optimistic. I'm excited. And I think overall it's going to end up going over really, really, really well. And with that, I know I'm going to do another BRB screen like so quickly, but in order to get the game open, I have to like disable my camera for a minute and open the game and all that stuff. So I am going to do another ad break and throw myself in BRB mode. That way I could put off the pre-rolls and fill that dead time for a second while I switch into gaming mode. And then we'll get into everything with Boba. So BRB, and I will run an ad. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, it's globally. There we go. I didn't realize I globally muted desktop and enabled desktop everywhere. I'm like, I wanted it only on the active. One of these days, I will get used to having to use OBS instead of Meld Studio after making the switch to Linux. Just one of these days, I'll get used to it. So where we left off with Boba, so you can say that I didn't keep her in the exact same spot that I was in because I wanted to continue testing some things And so I came back into Gridania, and I think I went to Limsa at one point because I wanted to see how everything was going to work load and all of that jazz. But where we left off is we just finished up with the sylphs. We got our second Pray Return to the Waking Sands happening, and because yes, Amphilia said it. She said Pray Return to the Waking Sands. So we now need to go back to the Waking Sands, and we need to talk to Taru, continue on, and figure out what we need to do now that the sylphs are on our side. We are the dancing one. We are the amazing dancing one who made friends with the sylphs, and we've ensured that they should not be summoning Ramu, at least anytime in the near future, because that was a concern of ours, and we knew that we could at least diplomatically talk to them and hopefully keep Ramu from being summoned on us. Let's see. So Tataru, she said it so well. If it isn't my favorite adventurer, welcome back, Boba. Lady Mephilia waits you within the solar. Please enter at your leisure. I know, Tataru, you're my favorite because you're not only a Lalafell, but also you don't steal my thunder like Papalimo does. Running up behind mid-battle and saying, hey, guess what? I'm stealing that thunder. Like, come on, Papalimo. Come on now. That's just really, really rude. Like, just not cool at all. So rude. And I wonder if he's going to have to deal with evolved mode, How are the NPCs going to handle evolved mode? Right, Alphino. Alphino showed up. Okay. Got Mr. Know-It-All here now. So we pray returned. And we've got Little Know-It-All. Alright, Little Know-It-All. I'm given to understand that the matter of Ramu has finally been resolved. It's like he even has a smug look on his face right now, you guys. Hey, Alphino. Can't with you, Alphino. I fear resolve bespeaks a performance we cannot rightly claim. Yet I am well satisfied that the Lord of Levin will not trouble us in the foreseeable future. Like Alphino. Your satisfaction is assurance enough for me. Like, I like that he is, addressing Memphilia, as though he is her superior. Like Alphino. Why are you walking in here as though you're the one in charge? You're not in charge, bud. I'm sorry. Sorry, little twerp. You're not in charge. You're not the boss. How fares the investigation? Well enough, thank her to sparing no effort. There are many and one, just as you suspected. Their purpose, however, eludes us still. Does anyone want to enlighten us as to what he and Thancred are doing? I see. I've been meaning to ask, but is Alize quite well? I feel as if I have scarcely seen her in recent days. Oh, you haven't. And nor have I, alas. Alize has chosen to walk her own path, stubborn girl. But you may be assured that our destination remains the same. And I really need to look into the lore behind Alphino and Alize a bit, because I feel like he is trying to act like older twin here. Stubborn girl. Trying to talk about her as though she's so much younger than him or anything like that. As though he is the significantly older brother that raised his sister or something. It's she's your twin, bud. She's your freaking twin. What? Why are you talking about her like that? Like, don't be rude. Ugh. Maybe she chose to walk her own path because she didn't want to be around you anymore. Little know-it-all twerp. On that note, I take my leave of you. I trust the Baldassian report will serve you well. Well, I take it we can proceed as discussed. Why do you ask? You scarce need my permission to act. Well, you've been acting like her boss man. Like, why do you think she's asking you for permission like as though you are the boss? You're acting like you're the boss and you keep trying to act like you're the boss. Like my eye, like I am rolling my eyes so bad right now. Oh, annoying. Go away, Alphino. Go away. Ah, that's why I'm not being caught up, because I'm just now walking up. And I'm just like, excuse me? Good to see you again, Boba. I've been looking forward to congratulating you on your triumph in the Twelfthwood. Owing to your efforts, conflict has been averted. Truly, you have done the Scions proud. Yes, the dancing one is absolutely amazing. And has done everything she can to help ensure that our cabbage friends are not going to summon Remove. With that, we can strike Remove from the list. So who's next? The Sahagin and Leviathan? That is so true. You learn like they're just like, oh, now that Alphina's gone and I'm here, they're like, yay, we're so happy. And I can't blame them. Like, he's just so insufferable right now. He's so insufferable. The Lord of Whirl has not answered his minions' call of late, nor is he expected to do so in the near future. While the Sahagin remain as aggressive as ever, they lack the quantity of crystal required to call forth their god. As with the sylphs, we can leave them to their own devices. For a time, at least. Alright, so what do you got for us, Y'shtola? What do you got? Because I'm sure, I mean, we already got to partner up with Thancred, and then we partnered up with Ida and Papalimo. I mean, surely next we got to partner up with Y'shtola, since she is dealing with matters in Limsa. So who is she concerned about then? Like, if we're not worried about the Sahagin, is she worried about the kobolds? For time bears repeating, we can ill afford to fall complacent. It is as Y'shtola says, unless we know the minds of the beast tribes, we cannot predict with any certainty when a primal will return to plague the land. This being the case, we must proceed with as much haste as prudence allows. Any word on Titan? Yeah, that would be the next one, right? The Maelstrom keeps the kobolds under constant observation. We shall hear from them ere long. You may depend on it. Indeed. So then, all the primals that have been active in recent times, we are left with Garuda. Or Cridania. Wait, I mean Garuda. Yes, I do have a prey return counter at the moment. It's pretty basic right now. So, Lethal, you missed it at the beginning of stream. I was talking about that Tuesday. I'm not going to be streaming because I am going to try a different Linux distribution because I think the issue is just I'm not finding the right configuration that will work with Linux Mint while still handling stream okay. Like, it handles, like, Linux Mint is absolutely wonderful for gaming and everything and trying to stick with as close to Windows feel with Linux as possible. Um, like it is one that I feel like is great for most people, but because yes, yeah, it's like because of Stream in particular, because of how I have to capture things, like it doesn't matter if I'm doing NDI or whether I am using OBS to capture or anything like that. Something with the with everything that's happening in the background just seems to be clashing, and it doesn't seem like I can fix it while staying on Linux Mint. So I'm going to try Nobara, and I'm going to try their GNOME user interface. And its backend is very different. Right now, this uses an Ubuntu backend, whereas Nobara uses a Fedora backend. I don't have much experience with Fedora. That was another reason why I wanted to try Linux Mint, because I have more experience with Ubuntu based. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try a different base, but it means that I have to pretty much rebuild everything. So the counter doesn't look very beautiful at the moment. It's functional. It's just not very beautiful. Because as I was in the process of trying to find ways to make it beautiful, I came to the decision I was going to go to a different distribution, and I was like, well, if I'm going to have to rebuild it anyway, I may as well stick with the basic look, and I'll make it beautiful with the new build. But Nobara is supposed to be built with gamers in mind for the most part, because Nobara is developed by the same person that came up with the GE Protons, and also their distribution has a user interface that is for Steam and gaming handhelds like the Steam OS and stuff. So I am very hopeful with it. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. And as I said, going to have to rebuild everything almost from the ground up. So I won't stream on Tuesday. Currently, my plan is to stream on Thursday or on Friday. I probably won't have the Prey Return to the Waking Sands counter back up on Friday, but I won't be streaming as Boba anyway. I'll be back on my main character, so I'm not as worried about having the Prey Return counter quite back up for Friday. So and when it does come back up, it might not be beautiful at first either. At that point, I want to focus on getting everything rebuilt first, and then I will focus on making this counter a little bit more pretty. At least we got it though. We've seen Prey return twice. One of them very recently with finishing up everything with this. And I know we're going to see so many more Prey returns. Thank you, Lethal. Thank you. And now we get to go deal with the Ixal. So we're just dealing with all of Gridania stuff because Ida's like, oh, Gridania. It's like we were just helping Gridania with the sylphs, though, because they said they were concerned about the sylphs. But they wanted us to go ahead and deal with the sylphs first because they felt like they could handle it not only diplomatically, but also quickly. And Gridania also has no love for, so I'm sure they really just don't want to face extra confrontation when it comes to the Ixal, and are like, well, let's maybe go with the sylphs first because we can at least proceed diplomatically, you know. But the Ixal are much more aggressive. So I guess we get to go deal with that. So we have Gridania. Wait, I mean Garuda, who is the primal of the Ixal, who lived near Gridania. Yes, that's what I meant. So I get to deal even more with Ida and Papalimo because they are our Gridania envoys here. They're the ones that we've been dealing with before joining the Scion, since we also are from Gridania as far as our 3 major cities, so we had to deal with them even longer. So many moms to cover. But that there were a more efficient way to conduct our surveys. Were he still with us, we would not long have wanted for a more predictable solution. Or for more practicable solution. I don't see the word practicable very often. Practicable. Ooh, they have an idea. Vic says she's not wrong there. Where in the world are you, Chief? Aww. And they're so sad. And Amphilia just says, but one sure step at a time. Henceforth, the Order of the Twin Adder will settle all matters pertaining to the sylphs, under the sage guidance of the Seed Seers. I bid you all enjoy a moment's respite. You have earned it. Okay. Maybe we're not going to dive in head first to deal with the Ixal. Okay, and I'm just lingering here. Okay. Is there something else, Boba? Yeah, I was like, why am I still lingering here? I don't remember. Okay, apparently I do have something to say. Oh. Beg pardon. A man named La Habrea, sporting a red mask and robed in black. Well preserved. Prior to the calamity, the Asians took great pains to remain hidden. Why would they choose to cast off their veil in secrecy now? Gods, this bodes ill. We must take advantage of the present lull and primal hostilities and investigate this La Habrea. Learn all we can of him and his designs. I dread to think... Oh. No, not Tataru! Tataru just screamed... Tataru! Yes, we need to go check on Tataru immediately. What's she doing down here? Oh. Oh no, we have... What's going on, our sylph friend? A sylph? And... Yes, Tataru is very precious. She must be protected at all costs. As much our cabbage friend here. Neuroxia! At long last, this one finds walking one Boba. Okay. What do we need? My fellow shorty? This one is most dependable of these ones, built by Elder One Frixio to help walking ones. This one is called Neuroxia. This one comes as a friend. Let these ones be friends. It's like... She doesn't know what to make of this. Like, look on her face, like, she's still just, like, super concerned, like, Pleasure to meet you, Neuroxia. Yeah, probably. Probably should have given Tataru a heads up that the Sylph are our friends and could be showing up. Oh, Thagrid's here. Thagrid, what are you and Alphino doing with? Like, I want to make sure Alphino isn't annoying you to tears, man. We gotta check on you. Yes, gotta make sure he's doing okay. And also, like, he was beating himself up so hardcore after everything that happened with Ifrit. Like, he was so genuinely concerned because he was like, I showed up so late, like, you could have died. And he was just obviously so bit out of shape with himself. Like, he was really worked up, thinking that I didn't do enough. Like, Ah, Boba, pray do not concern yourself with my welfare. My current investigation has yielded some curious results, and at present I am pondering how best to proceed. Okay. I mean, if you say so, bro. You say I don't need to worry about you. Oh, I can't go that way. I wanted to see what else I could do. Hey, it's our buddy. Our buddy, hello. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, we met you on the carriage. Wait a minute, I know you. The carriage into Gridania, right? It's me, Remont. How in the hell did you end up here, lass? Well, how did you end up here? Aren't you a merchant? What are you doing here, buddy? Ah, never mind. You could tell me later. I've got to ask you something first. This might sound strange, but you haven't by chance seen a fella what looks exactly like me? I'm looking for my twin brothers, and I heard they might have come through here. Ah, they could be dead for all I know. At least it feels like I've been chasing ghosts for an eternity now. Oh, well, now I want to know if I can find his brothers. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people. Dude, did you check in here? Are you sure did you check in here? Like, you're just standing outside. There's a whole bunch of people in here. There's so many people in here. I haven't seen how many people in here. Like, yeah, I didn't either. Like, I really did not remember him being right there. Like, but I also, like, I don't think I really took a look around and talked to NPC first playthrough, or honestly any playthrough since then, to be completely honest. But I'm like, I'm gonna take my time with Boba. I'm gonna make sure I talk to people. Cause like what? Why is she combing concrete? Stone. Guess not concrete, but still stone. Like, what? Why is she raking it? In recent days, I've resumed my training. Idle hands make for idle minds, and painful memories are all too quick to resurface. It seems like you're kind of idly just raking stone here, and perhaps not paying attention to the Mikote behind you. Like, I'm pretty sure the Mikote behind you is trying to get your attention. Alright. You, sir, with the crazy, looking hair, like, looking like you want to be Cloud Strife here. But also have, lovely sunglasses and a mustache, okay. There are two types of Alamegans. Fools who wish to fight back, but know not how, and cowards who've chosen to run from their worries. It's true, Lethal. Apparently there's only time for raking stones. There's no time for that, catgirl. Like, gotta keep raking those stones. Keep raking them. The young man over there is a striking example of the former. Me? I'm the latter. Or could you tell? Calling himself a coward. That's interesting. Oh, hey, materials. Okay. Okay, so we have an orchestrating roll available at this vendor, so we can get an orchestrating roll if we want to. So it's something that if you are a collector of orchestrating rolls and you haven't quite gotten to this NPC, go to the Waking Sands, go into this little side area. You should see Waking Sands orchestrating roll. That way you can listen to this. Honestly, I do like the Waking Sands music. I just don't like being summoned here all the time. And then like some standard things like materia. And okay. And there's a repair. So like right now I am not a crafter, so I could just repair everything. I'm actually just going to use the repair all inventories button. Come on, finish repairing everything. Thank you. But the benefit to having a crafter repair everything is, like I said in my video, is you could have over 100% condition you have a crafter repair with the requisite dark matter. So like they would only need to use grade 2, but if they use grade 2 or higher on this piece, so like where on that description, kind of close to the bottom, it says materials grade 2 dark matter. You just have to have at least grade 2 dark matter to be able to repair this piece, but anything higher will also repair it. And any crafter that repairs this, it will add an extra 100% to whatever the current condition is. Can't, like right now, they would not be able to repair my gear because it's already at 100%, but 99%, they can repair it. And yes, you can get 199% repair on that gear. But yes, they can't actually reach the 200 because you can't repair something that's already at 100% condition. But if it has any sort of durability loss, they can repair technically, and it will just add 100% to the current condition. If you go to a mender like this one, they are only going to repair it up to 100%, which is why their price fluctuates. The more damaged it is, the more expensive it's going to be. And then also, it will fluctuate based upon your item level and all that stuff. Like, that was very cheap for me to repair. Even though I repaired all my inventories, it cost me probably less than 50 gil because I have low level gear on. So, and some of my stuff was level 1 gear. Because I repaired all of my inventories. But at a higher level, like you're not going to be able to repair level 100 gear pieces that are at 50% durability for 45 gil. Like that's just not going to be a thing if you go to one of those vendors. So it is going to fluctuate, but as far as individual pieces go, like having it at 50%, having her repair it is going to cost me less than if it was 75% damage, for instance, because 75% she has to do more to get it back up to that 100%. So it does fluctuate a little bit. But Neuroxia, yeah, you came looking for me and telling me you were going to help me with something. I want, like, what are we helping? Walking ones from Old Daw have not seen these ones before. This one knows. Still, walking ones must make such screaming sounds when seeing this one's face. This one cannot get a wink of rest. I mean, you didn't know. You didn't know. Like how, like no one gave Tatara a warning or anything like that. Like how was she supposed to know? Like, she wasn't 100% sure what you looked like. You could have been a baddie for all she knew. I know you're a sweet cabbage, but you didn't know that. Yes, our poor cabbage friend. Our poor cabbage friend. Alright. Look, Neuroxia, I realize this makes no sense to you, but you must try to be more discreet. Years ago, a law was enacted in Odaw whereby... Please just trust me and stay out of sight. Continue, Papalimo. I want the rest of that. I want the rest of that. Yes, my cabbage is lethal. My cabbages! Like, I really feel like this is one of those moments that I need just a meme from Avatar. Have the poor cabbage guy screaming about his cabbages. But I want to know what this law is that they enacted in the DAW that, like, what were they going to do to Neuroxia? I was like, I was just going to ask Ida, but I also should have known that Ida wasn't going to have that answer either. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Ida usually doesn't know what's going on most of the time. So, like, why would she even have the answer for what law Papalimo is talking about here? Like, should have known. I should have known she wasn't going to explain. Could be like, Neuroxia and I both wear a mask. We're gonna get along famously. I just know it. Okay. 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 Oh, Arnvald! Arnvald! Yay! Hi, Arnvald. I'm to meet with the antecedent soon to discuss a matter of great import. Abba thinks about my first official mission. I suppose it would be good if it was, yes? I mean, I'm not sure if I'm ready, but still. Probably drinking to take the edge off. Like, he probably is feeling some anxiety, being like, oh my gosh, I get to go on my first mission? Really? Like, a masked man? I vaguely recall some homage ranting about something like that in the middle of a skirmish. Of course, I wasn't listening too closely, on the account of the fact that their friends were trying to kill me. I don't mean to waste your time, friend, but that's the only thing that comes to mind. I get it. I get it. And honestly, that actually is helpful. Like, I don't feel like what we saw in the cutscene. Of course, we know that the masked Asians are we're behind some things when it came to the Almaja because we saw them in the cutscene. But I don't know that our character saw them. So talking to him and getting that information, I feel like is helpful. Like, it's good to know that they have something to do with that. All right, Y'shtola, why are we still not hanging out with you? Why do I still have Papalymo potentially still in my thunder? As you have doubtless witnessed in your travels, the lands of Eorzea are grasping under the pall of a suffocating darkness. I must wonder if it is this darkness that invites disaster, or simply that disaster has left such gloom in its wake. One thing is for certain, now is not the time to relax our vigilance. I feel like that's fair. Like, we don't want to let our guard down. Oh! Hello! I can't see your ears, but I know you're a Mikote. Hello! I'm starting to wonder if it's worth the hassle to prove who we was. What? Who we was? Who we was. Okay. I mean, maybe some folk would say, good on ye, mate. Thanks for fighting to save Eorzea and whatnot, but I reckon most would ask what we've done for 'em lately, if not spit in our faces for allowing Bahamut to blow up half the goddamn world. Okay. And if I didn't know what I knew about Bahamut, I would have a lot more questions about this, but hey, you know, intriguing info. Knowest thou the import of the broken staff within the solar? It fell from the grasp of Archon Louis Swa, the man who, in his abiding love for all Eorzeans, shielded us against the storm of the calamity. The stars wheel across the heaven, and the skies brightened once more. The survivors gather and ignite a fiery dawn, burn away the glowing shroud. Ah, but Destiny, thou art beautiful. I love the poetic way that Urianger talks. Like, he just talks so poetically compared to everybody else. Like, I love it. Alright, Biggs. Only Master Garland was still with us. He was a brilliant man, full of life and purpose, kind and generous. He taught us everything we know about engineering. Though believe me, he could also be a very hard person to please. He would force us to completely rebuild devices if even a single flaw was discovered. I could only imagine what he'd say if he saw the tiny Bronco. Edge! Just swinging away up there. Side by side. People in masks cannot be trusted. But Biggs and I wear masks all the time when welding. It's not that people in masks aren't to be trusted, Wedge. Especially when you clearly have a purpose for your mask. Like, you're protecting your eyes while welding. Like, I I don't think he understands why we're concerned about the masked man. Okay. Okay. You could just keep swaying back and forth and humming along. Hum, 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 hum. And Clive here. Greetings, Scion. I come on behalf of the students of Baldessian. You may address me as Clive. Alright. Is there some reason you're still here? Please carry on. I am not here to see you. Well, screw you, Clive. Give me for just wanting to make friendly conversation as a short little Lalafell who is a Scion. And you just said, oh, I come and whoops, I think I went the wrong way. It says I still need to talk to Manphilia, so I'm gonna go back into the solar. Because I'm assuming that's where Manphilia is. And the minimap shows I need to go back into the solar anyway. Yeah, it's like, Clive, that was freaking rude. Be like, well, I'm not here to see you. Go away. Like, fine then. Guess I don't want to talk to you, man. Alright, Manphilia. We still have a situation here with no accommodations. But I was told I had no manners, so, you know, fine. I feel like it'd be manners for her to provide me with accommodations so I can properly speak with her a little bit better and her not have to hunch over so much to just talk to me. But, you know, just one short Lalafell's opinion. Yes, Tataru is as ready to express her fright as she is to express everything else. Not all of us are forged of the same steel as you, I'm afraid. I get why she freaked out, though. No one warned her. Like, no one gave her any sort of heads up. How else was she supposed to react? Like, she had no idea what to expect here. She didn't know what, like, she probably doesn't even know what or didn't know. She does now. Probably didn't know what a sylph looked like before that interaction. Like, that's not fair. It takes all kinds to make a family, and it pleases me to no end to see ours continuing to grow. One by one, the people of Eorzea are beginning to unite, Boba, drawn to the hope that shines within you. Yet a darkness threatens to engulf the light. Never have I doubted the Athians' presence, but that they have chosen, or not chosen, but that they have grown so brazen as to carry out their work in plain sight fills me with a sense of deep foreboding. And they're like, in case you don't have enough of these tickets, we're going to give you another 33 tickets. So now I've got a total of 66 tickets. And I've used several of these. Just in case I didn't have enough before, I've got even more. You guys, got even more. So you may as well, with how much they throw these at you, use them up. Because that boat from Limsa, don't get me wrong, that boat is great, and it works for characters like my main character who didn't get the benefit of these tickets. Like, when she went through MSQ, these tickets weren't a thing. I also have at least one or two alts that when they went through MSQ, this wasn't a thing yet. But nowadays, they throw so many of these at you that you may as well take advantage of them instead of using them. And they're not tradable, so, and you can't put them up on the market. I don't recommend selling them because it's free travel. Free travel. Alright, Manphilia wants us to investigate the mysterious La Habrea. Gonna look into this masked man. I'm afraid there's no rest for the weary, Boba. We must delve further into the motivations of the masked man, Asian known as La Habrea. This is an ideal moment to do so while our hands are not bound dealing with another primal. At the present, we know little and less about the Asians, only that destruction follows in their wake. I should not be surprised if these beings are behind the chaos that racks the realm. If my fears prove to be reality, we must do all in our power to stop them. Earlier, I sent word to each grain company to solicit cooperation. The immortal flames responded to the effect that they have information on a potential sighting. This is intelligence that we can ill afford to ignore. Go speak with Flame Commander Swift at the Hall of Flames in Old Da to inquire further. How you go about the investigation thereafter, I leave wholly to your discretion. But whatever you do, do not forget that we are dealing with the unknown. You cannot take too many precautions. Be safe, Boba. I do like these glasses a lot. They're so cute. And I do like the update to have the glasses in their own thing, because like I could put my ears on and still have glasses on. Like, it's so nice. It's so nice. I could still be my lovely nerdy self with glasses on and still wear actual proper headpiece. And in this case, have bunny ears, you know? Like, I feel like it's so nice. So nice. And I feel like the gradient on them is really, really cute. Like, honestly, I didn't know that these square glasses were a thing until I was messing around with my glamours on this character while I was testing things out. Like, I've been doing so much testing to try and figure out these frame drop things, and to the point that it's like I have a launch script that like changes the clock on my GPU, my CPU, and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I think on Friday, my unlisted YouTube stream ran for like 8 hours for me, just testing a whole bunch of different things. Like, it's been a lot. Which is why I'm just going to throw in the towel with continuing with Linux Mint, and I'm just going to try Nobara. The Masked Man. Ah, you are come on behalf of the Scions, of course. Yes, as we've already relayed to Lady Mephilia, there's been a sighting of this rogue near about Eastern Thanalan. Not Western, Eastern. Wasn't even a W in that. But yet my brain still wanted to read that as Western. A breastblade stationed at Highbridge described him in detail when he alerted us to suspicious activity. I would point you to the witness, but I'm afraid he died not 2 days ago. Slain by a marauding horde of Kjorn. Fate could be a cruel mistress. But do not be too quick to despair. Being situated on a trade route, Highbridge sees its fair share of travelers. Folks are always coming and going, and some among them may have caught a glimpse of your target. You could do worse than to speak to a merchant named Hihibaru. Hihibaru. Okay, I'm gonna guess that this is a love. Like, they have that AAB pattern with their name, Hihibaru. So that's going to be my guess, is that this is a Lalafell merchant that we're going to be talking to. The fellow's always starved for customers, and he no doubt welcome your attention, whether or not you have coin or the mind to spend it. Okay. Go talk to this Hihibaru. Let's go. Especially if they're Lalafell, because I need to know. We need to know, is this Lalafell? Holler at me. They probably are, because I made my Lalafell as short as humanly possible. But must know, are they taller? That's just always going to be the most intriguing question I'm going to have for fellow Lalafell, is, are they taller? And I honestly, let's see. I'm gonna get rid of the Fenrir on my hotbar here. I'll go ahead and get rid of the balloons too. Just keep the fat chocobo and an alpha here. Ha 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 ha. Hello, Lalafell friend. Hello. You are a little taller than me. You're not quite as tall as my ponytail, but you are taller than me, sir. You are taller than me, hee baru. Welcome to Highbridge, adventurer. Whatever you seek, I, hee baru, can provide it. Probably. You're after a masked man. I'm not sure I have one of those. I like this guy. He has jokes. He has jokes. Pretty dang good jokes. Like, I don't have a masked man. I don't have one of those in stock. At least I don't think I do. Like, maybe I have a masked man in stock. Like Hihibaru. Have a good one, Lethal. Thanks for joining. But to not be sure that we got a masked man. To not be sure. Okay. Oh, you're after a masked man. I mean, I can see where he got confused. Like I'm looking for, like, that could be translated as I'm still shopping around for one. But like no, sir, I'm not shopping around for one. I'm trying to find him. Why didn't you say so sooner? Such an individual might have featured in one of our many rumors I've heard. If you linger a while, mayhap you'll learn a thing or two. Eh? Okay, you want me to stick around and hang out? Okay. Okay. Hey, Hihibaru. He wants to help me find La Habrea. Maybe. Just maybe. He only maybe wants to help us. Ooh, and get someone pink dye for this one. Okay. Okay. I mean, I know I can just buy that from a vendor, but hey, I always did quests that give me dyes. I do like getting dyes from quests. When the Order of Natal began evacuating the ruins below, I had hopes that Highbridge would turn into a bustling hub for pilgrims. But thanks to the nigh endless beastmen raids, folks are too afraid to come within a mom of here. I sold everything I owned to get my venture started, and I'm loath to give up without trying to make an earnest effort to stick it out. But if things keep going as they are, I'll be bankrupt before the moon is through. Whining won't do me any good, though. No, for my business to survive, I need business. Speaking of which, perhaps you'd like to browse my wares. Spend a bit of coin to help a struggling merchant. The masked man? I'll take your bloody masked man. I know what I said before, but fake rumors are all I've got. If you want to know about him, go and ask the other merchants. Like, I feel for you, buddy. I feel for you. Like I've got some coin. Maybe I could buy something. My bridge was meant to become the next Imperial Avenue. Where are the throngs of pilgrims come to marvel at the ruin below? And more importantly, where is their coin? Why is business so fickle? I mean, it just sounds like you took a bit of a bad gamble, man. It's unfortunate, but kind of sounds like what happened. Why is this merchant like just looking around? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hi. On the trail of the masked man. I've heard of him, but only in hushed tones and faint whispers. That he wears a black hooded robe and looks right suspicious. And that's all I can say. Little though it is. Okay, that was less helpful than the Makote telling me that I couldn't really find out more from the Amalja about the masked man. Like, at least him saying that the Amalja were aware of the masked man, helpful. Like, being like, oh, well, what did he want with them? But for this guy to be like, oh, I heard of the masked man, and he just looks suspicious. Like, that doesn't help me, bud. Like, that was very unhelpful intel. Alright, alright, alright. Multiloquent merchant. Hello, hello, hello. Go away, lag. I've heard tell the masked devil. Seems he's appearing not only through around High Ridge, but elsewhere around Thetaland too. Enough folk have reported seeing him to convince me he's more of a figment of the imagination, but little is known about him otherwise. I mean, I feel like that was pretty helpful too. Like to know that he's been all around Thetaland. Like not just around here, that he's been all over the place. Like that I feel like it's helpful. Not just that, oh, I've heard he wears a black robe and he looks suspicious. I already knew he wore a black robe. I already knew that. Like, that was not new information. Alright, passive merchant. Have I seen a masked man wearing a dark robe? No, I haven't, nor do I wish to. Business is bad enough without shady characters lurking about. Folk have been giving Highbridge a wide berth because of all the Kieran raids. None but the most devout of pilgrims are willing to come here anymore. I mean, was that helpful? No. Was it still better than what the guy that's, like, halfway over the railing there told me? Yes. Like, and why do I have to come back to talk to Hihibaru? He told me he didn't have... He already told me he didn't have much of anything to tell me. Judging by your expression, I take it you didn't learn much of use. Look, I'm sorry for my rudeness earlier. It's just that things are tough for us merchants at the moment. The Kieran raids are so constant, so organized. We're beginning to suspect that someone is orchestrating it all. I tend to put my own welfare first, like most of us do, but that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. I promise to keep an eye out for your masked man and see if if I see or hear anything, you'll be the first to know. Alright, bud. Alright. It got me to level 34, bud. Got me to level 34. Ah. Give me just a second, y'all. Alright, I gotta move my microphone just slightly because I gotta do the rest of the stream like kind of... Oh, wait. Okay, I'll just have my headset around my neck or something. My headset keeps turning off now. Even though it's been on the charger like all day. It's just like, nope, I'm not gonna live. So, my streak of technical difficulties is just going to continue. And surely, not only will that end at some point, but also surely the information that we're going to be given is going to lead us to Lala. Or at least, like, to something helpful, right? Like, so far, I'm not finding anything that's, like, very helpful in the way of La Habrea. Like, we need more information here. Finally got some honest-to-God's information on your masked man. Why so confident? Because I saw him with my own 2 eyes. You haven't left my sight, bud. You've been standing right in front of me the whole time. Like, where... Like, why didn't you just point and say, hey, look, there he is? What the crap, man? What the crap? I was out for an evening stroll, minding my own business, when I noticed a column of... Evening stroll? It's just 8 hours at a time. 5:24, 5:25. Like, it's now evening. Bud. I'm not gonna call bullshit. But something's fishy here, bud. Something is a bit fishy. I was out for an evening stroll minding my own business when I noticed a column of smoke rising from a cliff over at Thal's Respite. Curious, I took myself there to find a masked man. Your masked man, I'm sure of it, standing by a fire. As if in answer, some Kieran appeared soon after, and the group began talking at length. I'm afraid I was too far out of earshot to hear much of anything. After the group had dispersed, an idea came to me. If you were to use this smoldering coal to start your fire, you might be able to arrange a similar meeting. It will be dangerous, didn't doubt, but you've proven yourself more than a match for a pack of rats. So what do you think? That's some sound reliable information, even if I do say so myself. Well, worth all the lingering about you've been doing, wouldn't you say? I mean, that's fair. That's more helpful than anything else I've gotten. And even if I don't get closer to La Habrea, it does at least give me enough information to help them with their Kieran problem. You know? And as a wandering adventurer, like, I probably want to help them with their Kieran problem. Like, they're suffering because of this organization of Kierans for some reason, so I may as well help them, I guess. Even if it doesn't give me the information that I am looking for. I'm sorry, Brass Blades. Surely you guys can handle those evil plants. Like, surely you can handle that. And also, I don't care that it's piss pouring rain. I'm not only going to get up here, one way or another. There we go. But I'm still going to apparently start this fire. Because magic. Like, I'm going to be able to magically start this fire. In the super pouring rain. Did he send... What? Who are you, buddy? No way. Okay. I feel like that was rude. It was so rude. Like, ridiculously rude. Like, was, Hihibaru, trying to, have me whacked or something? Like, did he... So rude. What the crap? Supposed to be Laha friends. We're Laha... We're Lala fells. Supposed to be Lala friends. Being a Lala. Hello, Lala fell. Decrease us as friends, bud. Like... Oh, it's the other side. Other side of the bridge. Like... What the hell, Hihibaru? It's raining so bad that, like, we're still getting poured on from underneath of this. From underneath of this. Like, that's how hardcore it's raining, you guys. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, nope, there's definitely still raindrops coming through. That's... Yeah, we still have some rain that's coming through the umbrella up there. I mean, we're not soaked, but we do have rain going through it. Back so soon. Were you able to find any clues leading to your masked man? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So we have a paper ward described with a prayer to the patron deity of Alamigo, Ralgar. Okay. The scroll, it bears a prayer to Ralgar the Destroyer. In case you're unfamiliar, Ralgar is the guardian deity of Alamigo, which is currently under Garlean rule. It's highly uncommon for folks of other nations to revere him. I'd wager my last skill that your assailant was Alamigan. Okay. But why'd he come after me just for starting a fire in the piss pouring rain? Like, why is he so offended by that? I don't understand. It seems this masked man of yours is very well connected. I must confess the merchant in me envies such a diverse network of contacts. That self-same merchant also senses danger ahead, and darkness besides. Are you certain you'd rather not take things nice and slow here at Highbridge? I mean, what adventurer says they want to be an adventurer? And I was like, nah, I'll just sit here in the pouring rain and hope that people show up to buy my wares. Like, who would do that? At least not an adventurer. Alright. On to Little Alamigo. Okay. Okay, that's a good suggestion. Going to Little Alamigo, because obviously that's going to be related to Alamigo. In some way. Like, some sort of relationship, you know? Like, even if it is just a naming semblance. Hihibaru has a suggestion to help me with my investigation, okay? Alamigan bandit you had a run-in with is somehow connected to your masked man of mystery. So it stands to reason that if you want to pick up the trail again, you should head toward Little Alamigo, over in southern Thailand. Just so you know what to expect, the settlement is the favorite destination for those refugees who couldn't, well, adapt life in Ul'dah. Parts of the denizens are said to be barren as the wasteland they give in, or as they live in. And for all intents and purposes, is a lawless place. Be prepared for a not so warm welcome. Now, I'm not certain how much help she will be, but just so happens I have a daughter who is, relocated Little Alamigo. Her name is Hihira. And it shouldn't hurt to seek her out first. Okay, so, like, she still has the same AA, but then a different B for her name. And while you have her attention, I'd be obliged if you could send my love. Not a day goes by that I don't think of her. Aw, that's so sweet. I suppose this is it then. I had hoped you would linger here a while, pull some friends, spend some coin, what have you. But something tells me you're destined for greater things. Wherever it is you end up, I wish you the best. Okay. Well, thanks, bud. Okay, and from here we do have to run because I have not been to Southern Thailand. This is going to be a new destination. Whereas Eastern Thailand, we've been here. We've been to Camp Drybone. But we have not been to Southern Thailand yet. We were up there for Brit and all that stuff. So we've been in the general vicinity, but haven't gone down there yet. So away we go. So for those that are unfamiliar with Ul'dah and their lives and all that stuff, it's very much it is a very capitalist society, where the money has made a lot of the population, like the ones who do have money, very corrupt, because it is, I shouldn't say it's capitalist, it is very fascist. Because we do have those in a money position running, like the syndicate is very, very involved in a lot of the decisions. So it is cutthroat in a very different way than what those of Alamigo are used to, which is why he was like, well, Little Alamigo is for, you know, those people that like were trying to get out of Alamigo but couldn't adapt to Ul'dah because they couldn't adapt to the greed cutthroatness. But we also saw a little bit of that in Ursula, you know? Because Ursula was a bitch. And unfortunately, we didn't get to take Ursula's kneecaps because he was tempered by Fritz, and he had to be put down because of that. Okay, hee-hee-ra. Hello, hee-hee-ra. Hello, I'm here. Here. Hello, Lalafell. Hello, my fellow Lalafell. Aw, I didn't move my camera over to the side well enough to be able to check her height and see which one of us is taller. But Hihibaru, Hihibaru's daughter here is Hihira, and she was like, why yes, Hihibaru, my father. He said, what? He said, he said he loves you. I wish I could be a better daughter to him. It's just that, oh, I'm sorry. Shouldn't bother you with family matters. I'm curious. Tell me. I want to know. I want to know. One of the reasons I feel like Boba is an adventurer is because she wants to know all of this stuff. She wants to travel and learn about other people's. So tell me all of your family woes. Hihira. But whatever, she'll just continue on and say, but I am grateful to you for delivering the message. Now then, what brings you here? A masked man. I'm afraid the description doesn't ring any bells, but one of the others here may have seen something. I would recommend you first speak to Gedobal, the leader of the settlement. I must warn you, though, he isn't exactly accommodating to outside. Okay. I mean, surely that stash means that he's going to be super welcoming. He's going to like a little shorty like me. Like, hold on. Maybe... Nope, she's taller than me. I'm not going to be able to get away with it. Like, maybe if I just go and change my hair to match hers, because, I mean, skin tone-wise, she's a little bit darker than me. But, like, I think if I changed my hair, I could just pretend I'm her, and surely he would talk to me, right? But no, I'm shorter than her, too. Like, I don't know, I could completely... I don't think I could completely fool him, so I guess I'll just talk to him. Who are you? State your business and be quick about it. Looking for a masked villain, you say? And why should we help you, pray? We struggle enough without having to answer the whim of every outsider. What? Dude, it was just a simple question. Well, it was. You are not welcome here. Be gone. I mean, what if I help you with your stuff? Like, I'll help. Just... Okay. He doesn't want to help me. But you, sir, you're the immortal flame, so... What do you got for me? He wants to aid me in my manhunt. Yes, yay! Well met, adventurer. I am Giselbert, head of the security here in Little Alamigo. I hear tell that you had business with Gundobald. Knowing the frisky old bear, I don't doubt he told you to bugger off. Owing to their hardships, the refugees don't trust anyone but themselves. Not even my men, and I can get so much as a word out of thanks up them despite watching the place tonight. But thanks or no, I try to help my fellow man when I can, and you seem a decent sort. If you tell me what's brought you here, might be as I can lend a hand. Yes. Tell me about the masked guy. On the trail of a masked villain, you say? Can't say that sounds familiar, but I have been on lookout for Almazja to the south of here. If there's been any suspicious activity, they are like to have seen it. I had a mind to take them each a cup of sweet Thailand tea so as to lift their spirits. If you were to run this little errand in my stead, they'll be all the more willing to help you, or help tell you what they know. All right, I'll take your tea to them. At least it's an errand that, like, it's going to be helpful in what I'm trying to do. No, Like, it's not just an errand for the sake of running an errand. Like, it's not the quests that you're given over with the kobolds and stuff, you know? Like, I've still got a bit before that, so I'm not going to leak it or anything like that, but at least it's not that. All right, this guy. Here you go. You look like you're, like, dying of thirst, dude. Who the hell are you? I'm trying to conserve energy here, so leave me alone. But here, have some tea. Why do you consider it? My thanks, friend. What's that? A masked villain, hiding among the refugees. Or hiding among the refugees like us not. Me compatriots as live here go about as though they're dead on their feet. It's near impossible to tell what's on their minds. For all I know, they're all up to no good. Okay. Okay. So you just don't like any of them. Alright. You don't like any of the folks that you're helping. You're just like, nah, they all suspicious. Angry River. I like your name, sir. Angry River. You there. Are you an Amalja? No? Then carry on. Dude, considering the Amalja are bigger than you, I would say that no. No, I'm not an Amalja. I barely come above your kneecaps, sir. So no, I'm not an Amalja. Okay, here you go. Here's your tea, sir. Ah, the sophisticated aroma. Forever since I've had a drop of sweet Thalian, I'm going to enjoy this. What? A masked man? Don't know? Don't care. Unless he's got dark scaly skin? Stands 10 fulms tall? So, in... fulms, is that in yalms or malms? Like, I need to know. And has the face of a lizard, but I don't give a murmur's fart. Okay, that was not helpful, sir. But enjoy your tea, I guess. Great, you. Hey, little dude. Maybe, shoo. Don't bother me. If an Amalja overrun us, I'm blaming you. I mean, little fella, come on. For me, you shouldn't have. Sorry, a suspicious masked man. As a matter of fact, I caught a glimpse of someone fitting that description during patrol. Leave it to the Lalafell. Leave it to the Lalafell to know what I'm looking for here. While I couldn't quite make out whether it was a masked man or not, what with the mask and robe. But I'm assuming it was a he. He was talking with some Alamegans. I assumed he was one of them. Okay. I apologize for my sniffles because, just like in the game I played last Tuesday, the trees do hate me, so I've got allergies going a little like crazy. But do apologize for that because them trees, man, they really do hate me. Not just in a video game. Alright. Flame Commander, one of them did give me some info. Ah, you're back, so do my lookouts have aught to share with you? That doesn't sound like much to go by. If you're to get any further in your investigation, seems to me you'll need the cooperation of the Alamegans. For this, you'll need to win their trust, and that won't be an easy task. Okay. Well, the glasses aren't going to give me any sort of upgrade because they are probably the exact same glasses that I'm wearing. So I'm going to grab the hat. So that way, when I do catch up with Rogue, and at that point, hopefully, like, let's see, what level quests are we on? Okay, so it will still be Rogue. Whenever I do catch up with Rogue, I will be able to throw that headpiece on. And let me go ahead and pick up this quest so that way we see where we're going. And then, I will start closing everything out. First, I am just going to pause for a second because I see that we went on another ad break. And I don't want those that are stuck on the ad break to miss where we're going. Because I do want them to see also where we're going, what we're going to have to do, because obviously we gotta get the trust of the Alamegans. Like we want their trust because they know something, and right now they're just not going to tell me. Like, am I going to have to be a dancing one still? Like, do I need to dance to get their trust? Like, what exactly is going to go? All right, come on, Twitch, come on. Let people come back from the commercial. All right, there we go. Now it looks like everybody should be back from commercial break. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this quest, talk us through it, and then start concluding everything here for today. So he wants to give some advice regarding the investigation because we need to get the trust of the Alamegans. So you're determined to press on with your investigation, then I have some advice to offer. As I said before, you won't get far without the Alamegans' trust. And the best way to win trust is to get a compatriot of theirs, someone they respect, to vouch for you. Coin does talk in an old daw, but the Alamegans are bound by something far stronger, if not as tangible. A common purpose. That purpose is, of course, the liberation of their home from the Garleans. Dude, I can't liberate their home right now. I can't do that. I want to, but I ain't strong enough for that. I mean, I got a strong, like, I got a steak. I can take down like a few guys, but I don't think I could take down a whole Garlean army. Gundobald belongs to the Alamegan resistance, so your best bet would be someone who's part of the same crew. If you know any well-connected people, you might want to start by asking them. Okay. Oh, well. Basically, it's I need to go talk to Menphilia and ask her where she thinks I should get this trust. Because apparently I just know. So we didn't get a prey return for this return, but we gotta go back to the Waking Sands and talk to Menphilia. So I'm not gonna increase the counter because no one said it. Anyhow, as I do my walk here, as I said at the start of stream, on Tuesday I am going to preemptively cancel stream for Tuesday, because I am going to be trying to migrate again as far as my Linux distribution. Switching off of Linux Mint, as I said, it works great when I'm just gaming or anything like that. However, because of stream, as I have to capture in some way, shape, or form, for some reason, it does not like it. I don't know exactly what it is. It might work for people if they are running native Linux games, but I am not running native Linux games vast majority of the time. Like just with VTube Studio alone, VTube Studio does not have a native Linux method for installation, so I have to run it using Wine, or in my case, I am using a Proton distribution in order to properly run it on my system. So I have to have something that is going to work a little bit better with capturing and Proton and all that stuff. It seems, as I said, Linux Mint works great with just running the games. It does great with Proton and everything. It's just the moment that I introduce capturing, in other words, any sort of screen recording, whether it be for stream or just recording in general, it seems to have about every 15 minutes or so, we have a massive frame rate drop, and it just becomes completely unbearable. So all the lags that you guys see that's happening on stream, it happens on absolutely everything on my end as far as visual graphics. Like all the sound seems to be fine. It's just visually everything starts to lag super bad. And then when I look at OBS, I see my stats. It is taking hundreds of milliseconds just to be able to properly render each screen. So then we have massive frames being dropped. So then we only are getting single digit frame per second. So to try to help solve this problem, I'm going to try to move off of Linux Mint and onto Nobara. Nobara is developed by the creator of the GE Protons. So it should hopefully play a little bit better with everything that I have in my setup. Primarily looking at that screen capture so that way I could properly run OBS on my system, or at the very least, if it doesn't work right, hopefully I can at least capture with an NDI and send it to another computer, because as you guys can see now, for a second there, like Boba, when she went to cross her arms, that was a little laggy. That lag happened on my screen too. Like, it wasn't just as far as stream goes, it was everything that I was seeing was also just straight up lag. And when I move to that new distribution, it means that I will have to rebuild stream. I will have to link things up with various versions of the Proton so that they could run and all of that jazz. So it will take me a few days to rebuild everything up, so I won't have everything quite running in time for a Tuesday stream. However, I should, fingers crossed, be able to get everything up and going before Friday. What my plan is for Friday, I will probably be catching up on MSQ with other computers that I don't stream with, while I am working on rebuilding things on this computer, or potentially if I can at least get Final Fantasy XIV quickly back up and going on this computer when I go to the new distribution, I will catch up as far as 7.4 MSQ goes, so that way on Friday I can start working on 7.5 MSQ. So that way, that gives everybody at least a few days to be able to experience that MSQ, so that way there aren't any spoilers that are happening for people if you don't want those spoilers and are at current content. I do apologize for anybody who are my actual Sprout followers. If you do not want spoilers, that's going to be happening with the new expansion that's coming out in January. I highly recommend skipping Friday's stream and potentially watching it at a later time or something, because the 7.5 MSQ, they've already said it is going to build us up for the next expansion. So if you don't want to know what's going to be happening next expansion, I highly recommend don't watch Friday's stream. But for those of you that are at current content, if you don't want spoilers, I highly recommend making sure that you do the 7.5 stuff before I get to it on Friday. Probably won't finish the whole thing because, as you guys see, because of how chatty I can be and how yappy I can be, I'm probably not going to get through the whole thing on Friday, but I will at least get through some of it. So there will be some spoiler content that is happening. As far as alerts and stuff goes for stream, like I know, like today, I did a horrible job of making sure that I posted things to my socials to alert everybody as far as the fact that I was going to be going live today. I do apologize for that. It has been a bit of a busy weekend. I highly do recommend to make sure that you follow me on multiple socials. If you are, like, especially if you're like only following on TikTok or YouTube, because shorts and that TikTok content doesn't exactly come through very quickly. So I do highly recommend making sure that you follow me on something like Blue Sky, for instance. I do post when I'm going live on there, and you should get immediate alerts. Or you can follow me on, or you can join the Discord server. The Discord server, I do. Someone's anxious for me to finish stream. If you join the Discord server, I do have alerts for when I make any and all of my posts that you can opt in for tags. You don't have to get the tags. If you type !Discord like Euler did in the chat there, it will give you an invite link. to join the Discord server. If you are a little wary of Discord because of their updated terms and all that stuff that happened last month in March, you can join the Fluxer server alternatively. I do not have tag pings on that one, but I do still have alerts for anything that goes on as far as YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. And if you type in, as Euler just did there, !Fluxer, it will give you an invite link for the Fluxer server. I highly recommend joining either one of those if you are wanting alerts for any time that I post and opting in for those. Even if you don't want alerts, you can join those servers. There's a lot of helpful content and conversation with the community as far as various things Final Fantasy 14 and otherwise goes. With that, as I said, I do have someone who's super anxious for me to finish up stream here. So I do want to thank you all, as usual, for being super patient with me. I do deeply apologize about the canceling of stream on Tuesday. But I think it's something that is going to be super, super, super necessary and helpful. But thank you all so much for your patience. And I hope you all have a wonderful, fantastic rest of your Sunday. If you did not get your full hour with me for getting your Fat Cat badge, I highly recommend that you make sure you pop over to another streamer's stream that's streaming Final Fantasy 14, so that way you could get that Fat Cat badge. If you hang around, I will make sure that I raid you out to one of those channels. But have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all on Friday.